this is like a huge problem going on in the world where kids, teens, people are being prescribed these drugs that, some aren't even tested or approved, like we just read. But, they're just, oh, something's wrong, I feel sad. And then they go to the doctor to prescribe something. And then they get on all of these different prescription drugs. And then they can't get off of them. And then those prescription drugs have all these side effects. And it's like, you can't just, like, if you're going through something in life and it's painful, life is teaching you a lesson. And just because you're going to go to the doctor and numb it with all these different prescriptions that they say are going to help, no, that's honestly just going to potentially make it worse by counterintuitively, like literally just leading to that yin and yang cause and effect problem of the sway of emotions. And so like when I hear about how many people, how many kids, girls, guys being depressed, especially as a young kid, then I can resonate with it, because when I was a young kid, I had all this energy. I had all this, like frustration, and I was just like this aggro kid because I had all this energy built up, and I needed an outlet. And so even, like I was prescribed when I was like 9 years old, I was prescribed on Ritalin, Prozac, which is like an anti-anger pill, I think, like all this. But it was like, no, let's look at the depth of the root of this problem. There's a kid, he's super energetic, he has a ton of energy, and he needs places to give that an outlet. And thank God for me, I had action sports, I had snowboarding, but then I grew up with kids like that didn't have that outlet. And so many of them OD'd, dead on drugs, dead from drugs, or did super bad things. They're in prison now, like literally like really, really bad things when you have this energy as a kid. And then, there's certain, the force of that outlet, like the way that energy has to be transitioned into something positive and constructive for that kid is so important. So when you see a kid out there that's like, oh, I'm sad because my friends were making fun of me. So you go home and you cry to your parents, and then they're like, oh, well, there's something wrong with her or something wrong with him. Let's go to the doctor. And then the doctor's like, oh, well, I just prescribe drugs and make money off of it. And there's this perpetual cycle of something that never ends, and that needs to stop. And it's obvious that the pharmaceutical industry is, one of the biggest industries in the world, and it's like they're capitalizing off people's feelings and emotions, and that needs to stop. That needs to be talked about, because that is not how you fix a problem, is just more of dampening it and more of numbing it. No, you get to the root of it and you figure out what's going on with it. And, for me, it's just it makes me cringe when I see that people are just getting prescribed more and more and more. And then, this prescription, because you're depressed, you give this pill, and then that has side effects. And then you take side effect pills for the side effects. And it's like, no, that's not how you get things done. You have to retract. You have to take away everything. And this is what I found out. I had so many different life lessons and things that I've gone through, but the reality really struck me when I was looking around and seeing how many people are truly on all this stuff. And then for me, I found meditation. And meditation for me was, I was after a really, really bad injury. I couldn't walk, and I was just laying in a dark room, just kind of contemplating life. And then I realized I found like my own existence was at its purest form when I was in a dark room in silence with my eyes closed and just laying there. And then I was like, okay, there's nothing here. There's no food, there's no water, no phone, nobody, nothing, just me, just sitting there. And I realized that if you can find a place of, mindfulness and being peaceful in that state, then you can start to choose to add things into your life. And so when you talk about the prescription drugs and it just means that you're out of control of your life and that you're going through something that's hard, but that doesn't mean that you can't regain control over it. And especially for a young kid out there that doesn't really have a great grasp of reality yet, even though I thought I had everything figured out when I was like 8. But I'm telling you right now, as a 29-year-old now, you don't have it all figured out. You have so much more to learn. And I wish if I could go back and tell myself something, if I, was being prescribed drugs as a teenager and you found this video, I would just say, just give yourself the patience, have the freedom of thought to understand that you have your own freedom. I used to have my best friend in school. He came from a foster home when I was in 3rd grade, and he got prescribed all these like ADHD medications, and he would have to go to the nurse at, every hour or whatever in school. And I would come with him. I was like his partner, and we'd go there, and he would just take the pill in his mouth, drink the cup of water, spit the pill into the cup, and throw it in the trash can. And he's like, I'm not taking that. And he knew as a 9-year-old or an 8-year-old kid, like he knew better. And that's fine. And what I'm telling you is like the stuff that parents are teaching you, the stuff that your teachers are forcing down your throat. Oh, a doctor says prescribe this, da, da, da. They're not, just because they're older than you doesn't mean that they have it all figured out. And I would question everything that anyone's trying to force on you. And don't think that, oh, I'm not telling you not to listen to your parents. I'm telling you, question everything. Does that actually suit me? Does that actually favor my future? Or are they doing it out of fear? And that is so important to me, because it just breaks my heart to know that there's people out there getting forced this stuff, and it's not what they need. It's not taking care of the problem. It's doing the opposite of it. I'm going to speak on this for the rest of my life because it's so important. But just know that you're not alone out there. Question things, do your research, try to find people out there that are a positive outlook, or have a positive outlook, and just put yourself first. And when I say put yourself first, you can't help anyone else until you can help yourself. And, just dampening your life force. There's a reason you're depressed, but find out that reason and heal it. It's not like, oh, I have some, the actual likelihood of a chemical imbalance, which is not even, I don't even want to get into that. It's like, it's so rare. So if you actually have something seriously mentally wrong and you're insane, then that would be figured out by now. But I'm saying for the average person out there, taking prescription drugs is not the answer. Clean your life up and start with nothing, and then start to add things,